Hey everybody, welcome to Arthas 101. Warcraft lore Arthas 101. I'm finally getting it done. This book was awesome. A lot of the information is going to be coming from this book. A lot of it's just going to be coming from Warcraft 3 and general knowledge I have about Arthas from various sources, reading on the internet. But mostly this book. There's some cool stuff in this book. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. Alright, so Arthas 101. If you guys don't know, I do these Warcraft lore 101s. This one's going to be about Arthas. I tend to talk too much in a lot of these, so I'm going to try to stay on Arthas, because there's a lot of branching storylines that come off of it, like the events of Warcraft 2 and the events of Warcraft 3. But I'm just going to focus on Arthas throughout this, so like when Jaina goes off to fight in Warcraft 3, like I'm not going to follow that much, and just try to stay on Arthas as much as I can. But we'll see how it goes. Alright, so here we go. Warcraft lore, Arthas 101. We gotta do some background first. For those that don't know, Arthas is the Lich King currently. But what is the Lich King? The Lich King was originated from this orc named Ner'zhul. You can read about him in Rise of the Horde. But he was this orc shaman who let the Burning Legion into the orcs kind of by accident, and let the Burning Legion taint them with demonic power, and that's why the orcs got green skin and became all bloodthirsty. I do a Warcraft lore on the Rise of the Horde if you want to know about all that. But he's the one that introduced them to introduce the Burning Legion to the orcs, which made them all demonic. So that happened back in Draenor a hell of a long time ago. After that, the orcs invaded Azeroth through Medivh, who opened a portal for them to go. Ner'zhul stayed on Outland in Draenor. But eventually, in Beyond the Dark Portal, which is basically the expansion pack for Warcraft 2, and it's also told the story in this book, the humans push back into the Dark Portal, and Ner'zhul is like the main bad guy again. And he's trying to open portals to other worlds to take over this whole time. So he does that eventually at the end of the book, and gets sucked into one of the portals at the end. And you kind of don't know what happened to him. But this is what happened to him. Kil'jaeden, who's one of the masters of the Burning Legion, along with Archimonde, he gets Ner'zhul and he forces them into the Ice Crown Citadel, or they freeze them in the Frozen Throne, which is up in Northrend. So this is the origin of the Lich King, and he kind of becomes the Lich King, but he's trapped in this thing of ice, and you kind of don't know what happens to him. And tons of stuff happens. Like, this is before Warcraft 3, before everything. So basically it's this orc Ner'zhul who became hungry with power and tried to open up portals to other worlds. Failed. So Kil'jaeden trapped him in this ice. That's it, for like a really long time. And you kind of don't know what happens to him until what I'm about to tell you about Arthas' story. Arthas comes in contact with him, and we'll get to that. But just so you know, that's the origin of the Lich King. Kinda. Even though he's nothing yet. He's just kind of trapped in ice up there. Arthas, where he lives, is in Lordaeron, which before, like right now, Lordaeron's all effed up, and you guys know it as the undead, homeland. The capital city's all in ruins, blah blah, the Undercity. But this is back way before Warcraft 3, before Warcraft 2, when Arthas was a little boy. His father, Tyrannus Menethil, was the king of this whole kingdom, of this alliance of humans that involved, their capital city, Stormwind, Dalaran, and all these other kingdoms, Stormgrade, all these other kingdoms that are around there. But the main one was this capital city, where Arthas' father was king. So that's kind of where this takes place. This is before that, before Warcraft 3, before all the destruction. Arthas grew up as the prince of this capital city in Lordaeron, which is in the Tristful Glades. That's just the background, so you guys know. So Arthas is a young boy. He lives as his father is the king in the capital city. He's kind of like he's not that royal of a guy. Like he doesn't look down at the people. He's kind of a man of the people, even though he's a little boy. Like he likes to hang out with the cooks and servants in his castle, which makes him kind of cool and makes a lot of people like him. The opening of the book, kind of, and it's kind of a big part of his life, is he sees his horse being born, and it becomes his horse eventually at the Balnir farmstead. That's where his horse, that's where they raise horse. This guy raises horses for like the royal army and stuff, and all the kings, and he raises Arthas' horse named Invincible. Arthas names it Invincible, and he's really happy to have it. So he watches it being born, and then he grows up. He's still too young to have training and stuff for like battle, but he's slowly growing up, and he wants to ride his horse, and eventually does, and he loves Invincible and all this stuff. Anyways, eventually, Warcraft 1 happens to Stormwind, like way south. You guys know where Stormwind is in relation to the Undercity, because they're where the Undercity is now, and Stormwind is attacked basically by the orcs. The first wave of the orcs coming to Azeroth merge Stormwind, and then all these refugees show up, and it's like a big event, and they hear about it because all these people from Stormwind, led by Anduin Luthor and Khadgar the Mage, and all these refugees from Stormwind, because the orcs took it out, are coming to Capital City to seek refuge and to warn them about what's coming, so they can have this huge alliance that starts. So they hear about it, and Arthas is like, really? All these people are coming? What happened to Stormwind? And he hears about how the king, Lane, was killed, and he knows that Varian Wyrn, or W-R-Y-N-N, Lane's last name, however you say it, I'm going to say Wyrn. So Varian Wyrn, who's the young prince of Stormwind, is now the king, even though he's not old enough to be a king. He's around Arthas' age. He knows that he's coming with all these people, and it's like this event. So Arthas' dad, the king, gets all this crap all ready for them to show up, and then they do. And Lothar shows up, and they hold this meeting, and it's kind of cool because it's all these cameos that happen in the book. So Arthas sees all these people for the first time. He sees Khadgar the Mage, and sees Lothar, who's like the king of the human army, and eventually leads all of this alliance against the orcs, and tells them that all these orcs are down there. They just destroyed Stormwind. Arthas is kind of freaking out. He's never heard of these orcs. No one has. And that they have to make this alliance, so they do. So everyone in the kingdoms around Capital City and Lordaeron unite to fight the orcs, and that's basically Warcraft 2. Arthas meets Varian Wyrn, which is kind of cool. He doesn't know what to say to him because his dad was just killed, and Varian is kind of like pissed at the orcs and is lost. And Arthas tries to comfort him, but really can't. They become friends, and they kind of spar a little bit, but Arthas is clearly weak because Varian has been learning to fight forever, and Arthas hasn't for whatever reason. His dad's overprotective, and no one's there to teach him, really. So all of Warcraft 2 is happening, and he's growing up during this kind of war-torn era. Uther's gone. Uther the Lightbringer, who's supposed to teach Arthas a lot of things, is gone this whole time. Uther's gone. So there's this guy, Muradin Bronzebeard, who is the brother of Magni Bronzebeard, who's the king of Ironforge. He knows Arthas because he's like the emissary of Ironforge, and he's been to Capital City, and he kind of talks to. That's how they have their relationships. Muradin comes and talks to the king on behalf of Magni. So Muradin knows Arthas, and he sees Arthas, and he's like, "Oh, hey, young boy," and he sees him like practicing in a room with a sword and like a suit of armor that's just like there for decoration, and he totally sucks. And so Muradin decides to teach Arthas. He's like, "I can teach you to be a warrior. Uther's gone this whole time. I can teach you how to fight." So Muradin does this, and it's kind of like Arthas' first introduction into fighting and whatnot. So Muradin kind of takes him in, kind of like a older, like big brother like figure. They become really good friends, and Muradin just works him hella hard and teaches him how to fight over the years. And over the years, Invincible's growing up, his horse. Warcraft 2's going on. He eventually meets Jaina Proudmoore at one point, who is a mage, who's the daughter of Dalian Proudmoore, who's kind of he's Admiral Proudmoore. A lot of people, that's how you'll hear him, Admiral Proudmoore.